كتاب الله كتاب الله كتاب الله كتاب الله كتاب الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربكم أعلم بما في نفوسكم إن تكونوا صالحين فإنه كان للأوابين غفورا وآت ذا القربى حقه والمسكين وابن السبيل ولا تبذر تبذيرا إن المبذرين كانوا إخوان الشياطين وكان الشيطان لربه كفورا وإما تعرضن عنهم ابتغاء رحمة من ربك ترجوها فقل لهم قولا ميسورا ولا تجعل يدك مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط فتقعد ملوما محسورا إن ربك يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر إنه كان بعباده خبيرا بصيرا ولا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياكم إن قتلهم كان خطأ كبيرا ولا تقربوا الزنا إنه كان فاحشة وساء سبيلا ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ومن قتل مظلوما فقد جعلنا لوليه سلطانا فلا يسرف في القتل إنه كان منصورا ولا تقربوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي هي أحسن حتى يبلغ أشده وأوفوا بالعهد إن العهد كان مسؤولا وأوفوا الكيل إذا كلتم وزنوا بالقسطاس المستقيم ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كان كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا كل ذلك كان سيئه عند ربك مكروها ذلك مما أوحى إليك ربك من الحكمة ولا تجعل مع الله إلها آخر فتلقى في جهنم ملوما مدحورا أفأصفاكم ربكم بالبنين واتخذ من الملائكة إناثا إنكم لتقولون قولا عظيما. The social values of Islam. This is the topic of our lesson this time. What are the values which Islam promotes? And what are the social values which Islam wants to eradicate from the society? There is a beautiful collection of all these here in Surah Isra or Surah Bani Israel. Interestingly, Hibrul Ummah, the great best alim, scholar of the Ummah, Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu, says that this is the Qur'anic version of the commandments of the Torah. And if you happen to see Jewish literature, the 10 commandments would come to be almost the same. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. The first and the foremost principle of Islam is Tawheed. At the social level as well as personal level, Tawheed is the basis of Islam. And your Lord has decreed, has ordered, commanded, Allah ta'budu illa iyyahu, that don't worship anyone except Him. First and the foremost principle of Islam is Tawheed. You cannot worship anyone other than Allah. You can obey, you can respect, you can be nice to everyone, but you cannot worship. The modes of worship. You cannot perform a sajda before anyone other than Him. You cannot have the position of ruku in front of anyone other than Him with reverence. You cannot invoke anyone other than Allah. Dua only from Allah. Despite the fact that you know that it is Israel alayhi salam who will come to take your soul away. You are not allowed to request Israel alayhi salam for your longer life. You have to request Allah Almighty if you want a longer life. You know, it's a part of your belief that Mikail alayhi salam is assigned by Allah Almighty to distribute Allah's rizq to mankind. Thus it's He who manages to bring the clouds, to make them rain, to make the crops grow. It is His assignment from Allah. Yet you cannot request Mikail alayhi salam to shower the rain or to stop the rain. You have to request only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No sajda, no raku, no dua. And also you cannot seek help from anyone other than Allah in the metaphysical channels. Physically you can seek help from anyone. I may request any one of you, please get me a glass of water. But in the invisible channels, I cannot invoke anyone other than Allah. This is part of Tawheed, Ibadah. Then there can be no nazar for anyone other than Allah. You are bound to make nazar only, pledge only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, your Lord, Allah Almighty, has decreed that you don't worship anyone other than Him. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and that the parents, and that treat the parents nicely. This is not that. It should be treat, and treat the parents nicely. Make a correction. And your Lord has decreed that don't worship anyone except Him and treat the parents nicely. We already studied this subject of treating the parents nicely in Surah Luqman. And I told you that was the most comprehensive place in the Quran where the positive as well as the negative demarcation was given. But here the positive detail you find beautifully described. Imma yablughanna indakal kibar. Whenever they happen to grow to an old age in your presence, ihdahuma aw kilahuma, one or both of them, fala taqul lahuma uffin, don't even mutter to express your displeasure. Uff is expression of predicament. Now, even these expressions are not allowed. As I said, women act like children. So do the old parents. They sometimes act like children. They sometimes stick to something unreasonable. Yet you are not supposed to say oof to them. Any expression or word of predicament is not allowed. فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا, and don't shout at them. You can shout at your children when they misbehave. But if the old parents also behave like children, you cannot shout at them. This is a clear command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tolerate them. Bear them. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Even to their shout, return to them with nice words. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. In contrary, always speak to them in soft words. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Janah are the wings of the birds. And shoulders, the shoulders of the birds, they turn to wings. So, for human beings, these are the shoulders. Lower your shoulders for them. Like birds, the birds cover their chicks under their shoulders, under their wings, and provide them all they need within the wings. So you also cover them under your wings. That means fully support them and provide them all their needs. Respectfully, with love, with affection. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, and protect them under your wings out of mercy. وَقُلْ, and pray, رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا, O my Lord, treat them both with mercy. كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا, just as they raised me up when I was a little child. This Rabbaya, word Rabbaya is from Bab Fa'ala, Taf'eel, from Riba, Raba Waw or Rabaya, which means to groom, to raise. O my Lord, irhamhuma, treat them both with mercy. Kama Rabbayani Saghira, just as they raised me up when I was a little child. Rabbukum alamu bima fi nufusikum. You knows best all that is in your minds. In takunu salihin. If you turn righteous, فَإِنَّهُ كَانَ لِلْأَوَّابِينَ غَفُورًا, then indeed He has ever been forgiving in the favor of those who turn to Him repenting. Now here, what do we owe to our parents comes to an end. It's very important to understand why all this to the parents. This in fact is a repayment of what they did for you. When I was little child, my parents earned for me, fed me food, spoon fed me when I was not able to eat. When I was not able to go to the washroom, my mother helped me in meeting the calls of nature. When I was not able to clean myself, my mother especially did all that what I needed. Now when she is an old woman, I have to repay her. If the old parents cannot eat, you have to help them eat. If they can't drink, you have to help them drink. If they can't go to the washroom, you have to carry them to the washroom. If they can't clean themselves, you have to clean them the way they clean you. Not as a favor to them, but as a repayment to them. All this they have already done to you. Now gradually, you should extend your favors to the relatives, from parents to relatives. وَآتِ ذَا الْقُرْبَى حَقَّهُ وَالْمِسْكِينَ وَابْنَ السَّبِيلِ. Usually it doesn't happen. You know, one old father asked his son, "What's that?" There was a crow on the wall. The son said, "Crow." The father again asked, "Sonny, what is that?" It's a crow. The father again asked, "I'm saying, what is that?" "I told you it's a crow." The father was upset. He went to his room. And after some time, he came with his diary and showed his son, "My dear son, 30 years back, at the same place, at this wall, there was a crow. And you 50 times asked me this question, Dad, what is that? Dad, what is that? Dad, what is that?" I was not upset. I didn't shout at you. And for the third time, I asked you the same question and you shouted at me. And this is what usually happens. The favors that parents have done to their children, they cannot be paid back. You will always be short. And for that you have to pray again and again. You have to seek from Allah forgiveness. "Oh Allah, I've tried my best, but I'm not able to repay them. Please forgive me. Please forgive me." If your intention is positive, and sometimes you are not able to pay them their due, then Allah might even forgive you. But you have to try your utmost. You have to urge earnestly that you are able to repay them. It's going to repay you in the long run. Don't worry. But man's inclination is towards his own children. And this is the most beautiful aspect of Islam which you don't find in the Western society. The Western society claims to be a glittering society. It has got attractions for the whole mankind. But if you go there, their old homes, parents living there, waiting for their children, they may come at Easter or at Christmas, if they can have time. Where Allah Almighty is urging mankind, the believers, what do you owe to them? Now extend your favors gradually to the relatives. وَعَادِ ذَا الْقُرْبَى حَقَّهُ. Pay to the relative his due. وَالْمَسَاكِينَ, and then to other helpless ones. وَابْنَ السَّبِيلِ, and also to the needy and also to the travelers. وَلَا تُبَذِّرْ تَبْذِيرًا, and do not squander unnecessarily. Now there are two words for extravagance in the Quran. One is israf. Israf is to spend more than the need. But this tabzeer means to spend without need. Just to impress others that you are a very wealthy man. Just to show off your wealth. This is called tabzeer. And what is Allah's comment on it? Just see. Innal mubaddirina kanu ikhwana nisa. What? Okay. There are two words, israf and tabzeer. Israf is spent in need more than the need. For example, to wear clothes is a need. But to wear expensive clothes and change the clothes every now and then, that will be extravagance and israf. This also is not recommended. Allah Almighty says, Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. Eat and drink, but don't waste. Not do israf. But tabzeer is to spend where there is no need at all. At marriage ceremonies, at birthday ceremonies, this, that. You don't need them. That's not your need. Marriage is a need. But to illuminate the whole house and 2 miles to the house too. What? Yes, there are guests in the house. You can put some extra light so that there is no accident. But to impress the whole community and let everyone in the neighborhood know that your daughter or your son is getting married, this is tabzeer. And Allah Almighty is telling, Innal mubaddirina kanu ikhwana shayateen. Indeed, the mubazzireen, the squanders, are the friends of Satan, Shaitan. Why? How? You know, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah Almighty tells that إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَن يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ فِي الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. Indeed, Shaitan wants to promote enmity and animosity among you through khamr, alcohol and gambling. And so does this man do, who wants to create enmity between the poor and the rich. Your son is getting married and you are serving food, very expensive food. Whereas there are people who are serving there, they cannot arrange the marriage of your children at even the lowest level. Would they be happy? They will develop animosity in their minds against the rich people. And this is the act of shaitan. وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِرَبِّهِ كَفُورًا. And Satan has always been thankless to his Lord. وَإِمَّا تُعْرِضَنَّ عَنْهُمُ ابْتِغَاءَ رَحْمَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكَ تَرْجُوهَا.